When I have to coach conquerors in accessing more capital, the first question I ask is, how much capital have you accessed? I often tell that pro, I do not get excited by adding more debt in your life. Have you ever been excited about that? Have you ever gone back and said, man, I feel so good. My coach told me to add more debt in my life. So that'd be the first thing. I want to understand the landscape, because sometimes access to capital comes with other strings attached. The second thing I'm going to look at is, what kind of capital have they accessed? So there's the traditional capital, right? We have our friends and family. We have our credit cards. We have our loans. We have our truck payments, truck loans. Maybe there's an SBA loan. So I want to understand what the diversification is. And sadly, a lot of times, most of their capital is tied to one or two types of lead sources. They're either doing a lot on credit cards or a lot on maybe truck payments. And so I want to understand that section. The third thing I want to do is figure out if we can introduce alternative financing. Alternative financing is a billion-dollar industry, and it focuses across multiple layers. There is, of course, forgivable loans, which we've heard through the EIDL program and PPP, right? We've heard of forgivable loans, but the reality is forgivable loans has been around for a long time. Even with my businesses, I recall 15 years ago where I received a forgivable loan from my state to hire employees. I was already going to hire them. But here's the cool thing. Because I knew about the forgivable loan program, I was able to hire them, and every time I hired them, they just threw an extra $5,000 my way. The other one is grants. People love the idea of grants. That 15 years that I spent understanding grants, what I understood is not that there's millions of dollars set aside for grants, but it doesn't matter. What matters is, do you have the knowledge to go after the grant and win it? Not write the grant, win the grant. So we would want to look at what you're targeting. And targeted grants could be, I'm targeting based on my mission. I'm targeting based on my state. I'm targeting based on my industry. How does that look? Let's say hypothetically you were interested in hiring veterans to come and work in your company. Why are you not going after a program, nonprofit, that set aside helping veterans get back to work and use some of those funds? So that's what we would look like for grants. So what I would first do to answer that question is do an inventory, create a checklist, and then identify the right potential alternative financing that's going to meet their profile. Not any kind, because there's too much, but specific to their profile. Well, one of the major pitfalls is they are working in a place of wanting to get things done immediately, and they make a lot of mistakes. They're nervous, maybe there's something happening in their business, and they're making poor decisions. One of the worst decisions I've seen over and over again, and please, if you're even thinking about that, please reach out to Conquer, please reach out to me, is these online banking organizations or online financial organizations that say, oh, come here, you know what, you don't have to go through any credit check, and we're going to give you $40,000 or we're going to give you $100,000. And they don't realize the amount of cost, that the true dollar for that actual note that they're going to buy. The other piece is that they don't realize at some point that if they take on any more debt, they're in trouble. I always say to people, this is interesting, I always say to people, you are one decision from being a millionaire. You're also one decision from being completely broke. So the most important thing is, before you sign on anything for your company, just verify it with someone. Get a third party, get a coach, get someone who's not in a situation where they're going to be personally invested from a financial perspective, someone who's truly objective to look at it and give you sound advice.